Hello everyone. So I am Dr. Premal Patel, Associate Professor from Silver Rock University. So as we have discussed in the previous session about JSP, two components like JSP directives and JSP traditional elements. These are the things we have discussed. Now, today we are going to learn about the JSP uh, implicit object. So JSP implicit objects, mainly it is used to write uh, or access the method of Java using these JSP implicit objects. Basically, like whenever we are writing that out.println and some message we are going to print. So what we are doing that we are accessing that out object, and through that object we are accessing the method. So how it works, that is important to learn. So like that we are using so many methods through different kind of objects, so that we are going to discuss today. You can see that JSP implicit objects are created during the translation phase of JSP to the servlet. So these objects can be directly used in a scriptlet because the code of for Java that we are using in a element, different elements. So in a scriptlet that we can use, which goes into the service method. They are created by the container automatically and they can be accessed by using the objects. So how we can use it? You can see the simple example here that while we are writing that out.print and some message we are going to print, how it works. So JSP provide implicit object name is out. That is the object, and through the object we are accessing the method print method. So out object that is created through the response dot get writer. Now through this response dot get writer, we can create that out object, and through that out object we are accessing that print method which is in the particular class print writer, right? So this is how it works. There are so many objects available. You can see the 9 implicit objects created by JSP container: out, request, response, config, session, page context, page. So according to the requirement in the program, we can utilize it. So let us go to learn practical that how actually it works. So you can see this NetBeans here. The index.html file is there. My demo.jsp pra1 practical one that we have performed last time. So in same practical, or let us create. Okay, in the same practical we are performing these things. Okay, so let us check for first of all that whether it is proper running or not. Okay, so the function, the program is functioning properly. Now what will we do? Let us do, first of all, we create one example of form submission, how to submit the form. Through that, we can utilize these all the objects. So let us create one HTML file. The new HTML, that is by default name, I am going to keep it. Finish. Save. Now here I am going to create the form. Okay. Whenever we create some form, there are few attributes that we have to fulfill. So first of all, in the form, action, that means where we want to redirect this form after submitting it. So the name we have prepared, that is PRA1. Okay. So PRA1 dot JSP, that is action. Now we can choose the method, whether you want to get method or post method. The form is closed. Now form is ready. Now we have to create the component. Okay. Uh, Let us create an example of addition of two numbers, right? So number one, that we have to insert the value of first number. Input type, input type is equal to text, and we have to give one name of that component. Name is T1, like T1, that is first value. Closing the input. Number two, then say input type is equal to text, and name is equal to T2. So after creating these two text box, we need to create a submit button, right? So input and type is equal to submit. Save. Now form is already closed. Let's see how it looks. Run the file. So we can decorate more better if number one, then number two should be under it, below the number one. So break point that we can create for each. Now it seems more better. So you can see this number one, number two, where we can insert the some number or any value, because it is by default, it is type is text, so you can add the text, but we are going to prepare of addition, so basically we will use the number, right? It is redirecting to the pra1.jsp. So let's come to, okay, pra1.jsp here. Now here what we will do, first of all, we will create a scriptlet. So we can write the Java code. Now, whatever the value is come from the text box, it is in a form of text. That means in a string. So we have to store in a string. S1 is equal to, what we have to write? Request dot get parameter. So whatever the value from that parameter will be accessed to the request object will be stored in the string S1. So in the S1 we will store that value, right? Here the value which is the name we have given in that HTML is a T1. So from T1, whatever the value will be redirect, that will be stored in S1, right? Same in a S2, we will have to store the value whatever that comes from T2. Now the value is stored in S1 and S2, but it is in the form of string. So we need to convert into the number. So for that, we can take one variable integer a is equal to integer dot parsing and s1. So whatever the value in s1, that will be converted into the string. Same things that we are going to apply for s2 and store into the b. So value is stored in variable a and b. Now we have to print out dot println where we want addition. So a plus b, that total we want to print. Now let us come to the form new HTML. I'm going to refresh the page 5 and 7 and submit the button 12. Okay, so the total is equal to 12. Total is equal to 12. So this is how we can use this request implicit object. We can also use it response implicit object, request objects, and suppose it required the exception. So that also we can use. How we can incorporate in the practical. So for that, let us take one more example for that things. Here we have seen that in a form, how we can submit the form and how we can fetch the value from one page to another page. So same things we can use. Suppose I want to create any login form. Okay, so for login form, I'm going to create here. How we can create was login. Input type is equal to name, text, and name is equal to login. So that is the name. Now I am going to remove this second line. Save the value and input type is equal to submit. We can put the value is equal to login, or we can write sign in, right? Save. How it looks, login, and on the button it display sign in. So the form is ready, which is going to redirect in pra1.jsp, right? Now let's come to pra1.jsp. Now I'm going to remove this all the code, save, and here I'm going to write out.println and welcome, and the value what we are going to fetch request dot get parameter. The parameter is login. Let us verify the name. The name is login. Okay, so that we have to mention semicolon, save. Now refresh the page and I am going to login Dr. Premal Patel. Now when I will click on sign in, it will show welcome Dr. Premal Patel on practical pra1.jsp page, right? So this is how request uh, object works. But suppose I want to use response. So let us take one example for response object. Okay, so we can write response dot send redirect. Suppose I want to redirect on some page. So I have to write the name of that page. Suppose, yes, index.html is there. So index index.html. I want to redirect on index.html. Let's see what is the code is index.html file. Right now, let us come to our page new HTML, and we are going to run this page. Login Dr. Premal Patel, and while you click on sign in, you do write content index.html. Index.html, do you write content? Save. This is index.html file. So always keep save the files while you are going to do any changes. So that is you have to remember. Now, whenever you will click on sign in button, it will be redirect on index.html. So you can see this we have used here in the practical response dot get send redirect. So these are the objects how it works, right? So through this object we can utilize all these things. Now, suppose I want to use any another objects like exception. We all are aware with the concept of what is exception, what is difference between error and exception. So suppose I want to do the practical in exception, how can we do? So in same page, let's remove this all the code. Just I am keeping this scriptlet, right? Here I am doing integer a is equal to 5 and b is equal to 0 and c. Save. Now, actually it doesn't require c. Suppose out dot print ln and a upon b. Save. We all know that it will generate an exception because it is divided by 0. In the mathematics, while you divide any value by 0, it will always generate an exception. So that situations we have created here to generate an exception, right? Okay, now let us see first of all what happened if I will run this file. You can see an exception occurred processing JSP page. The code is also shown here. So it looks like an exception is occurred during the processing and the users cannot properly understand. So here we can also manage the exception. What do we need to do here? Array page. So whenever it will generate error page, I have to redirect to my demo.jsp. So in my demo.jsp is the page where I will manage the exception. Okay. So that is I have mentioned here. While if any error will be occur, that should be shown or redirect to the my demo. So here in my demo, we have to manage the exceptions. So in this page also we have to mention like in a page this error page and value is true. Suppose is the error page is there and the value is true, then what I want to do in that following situation. So error page. Save. Now ERA1 save this page. Now save this one and let us run this page. Run file. You can see the error page on ERA1. The error page is showing the value which is coming from this mydemo.jsp. Even we can write the error also, like which error is there. So that is also we can write. We just have to write exception. So the exception will be also shown Java language arithmetic exception divided by 0. This is the error is generated. So that also we can print or we can access this which type of error is there through the exception. So this is how this all the component and these implicit objects are working. So we can utilize all those components and this all the objects in JSP page as and when required. Now JSP action elements. So how JSP action elements works and what is the importance of it, that we will discuss in our next lecture. So thank you everyone.